If you wander deep enough into Hindi YouTube, you will eventually find a 10-headed, demonic Santa Claus who emerges from a cemetery in Barcelona, travels to a rural Indian village, and eats police officers alive. Or maybe you'll stumble upon the ghost of an ancient Aghori ascetic, resurrected to slaughter doctors inside a brightly lit modern hospital mortuary. Then there's the Apsara Beauty Parlor, a makeover salon where the owner harvests the blood of a murdered teenager to create magical facial peels that cure acne. These stories command millions of views across rural and urban India, building a vast digital archive of modern folklore that demands a closer look. Every day, millions of viewers click into these low-budget animations. They are engaging with a specific, repeating narrative structure that has become one of the most successful exports of the Indian digital economy. Intrigued? If you look past the exaggerated gore and floating heads, the same inciting incident appears in almost every story. The supernatural entities are never the instigators. The monsters enter the frame only after human beings have committed very real, grounded crimes. These viral videos function as a decentralized system of morality plays, where ghosts serve as physical manifestations of contemporary social anxieties. This world is defined by the cutthroat nature of urban capitalism, where human connection is erased by the drive for profit across dense city blocks. In the Natasha Coaching Center story, a wealthy businessman encounters a rival tutor who refuses to sell his academy. The businessman's response is to murder the tutor's entire family to eliminate his market competition. We see this again in the Apsara Beauty Parlor. The haunting doesn't begin with cursed artifacts. It begins with an abusive father who sells his own daughter to a local business owner. The parlor owner then drains the girl's blood to bottle it, turning a family tragedy into a successful retail product. In these narratives, the supernatural horror is the result of a world where human life has been completely commodified. Outside the city, the focus shifts to the systemic prejudices that govern traditional rural life, particularly xenophobia and caste discrimination. In the Azamgarh story, a South Indian family relocates to a North Indian neighborhood and immediately faces suspicion from their new neighbors. Because the family worships a regional deity and performs unfamiliar rituals, the neighbors label them as dangerous outsiders and eventually burn the family alive inside their home. Similarly, the Devdas Tudal story begins when a wealthy landlord murders a lower caste boy to prevent an intercaste romance, creating a vengeful spirit in the process. These monsters are the physical embodiments of regional bigotry and caste discrimination, violently demanding the justice they were denied in life. The most visceral anxiety explored in these texts is the reality of unchecked gender-based violence. Recurring characters like Vaishali and Meera are depicted walking home from work or college, only to be cornered by entitled men on the street. When these women refuse male demands, they are attacked, burned with acid, or thrown into wells. This diagram tracks the transition from a real-world crime to a supernatural response. In a system where initial acts of violence are rarely prosecuted, the narrative provides the only available closure. The YouTube horror universe balances the scales of reality. Here, marginalized female victims return from the grave to personally incinerate their attackers. When you combine these themes of greed, prejudice, and gendered violence, the immense popularity of these stories starts to make sense. These videos provide a therapeutic dose of absolute karma, a guaranteed justice that is often elusive in the real world. These channels function as modern folklore, acting as societal warning tales for the digital age. They make an unshakable promise to the audience that the corrupt businessman and the violent harasser will eventually face a reckoning they cannot bribe or bully their way out of. The ghosts eventually fade into the background, leaving behind a stark record of the human cruelty that brought them into